Hey friends, hope you're doing well today. I know I am. The overall markets are treating us pretty well lately. If you're an investor in Rocket Lab, I'm sure you're pretty happy with how we've performed the past month or so. Today, what I wanted to talk about is just a super casual video. I'm going to dive into Trader Workstation, which is my trading application that I use with interactive brokers, and just go through some of the things that I look at when I'm kind of initially researching a stock. There's a lot of advanced features or things you may not be aware of in here that I think are worth taking a look at and diving into. Of course, you may not be using Trader Workstation, but whatever your trading platform is, Thinkorswim, whatever, you probably do have a lot of this similar functionality. If you do want to consider switching over to interactive brokers, I do have a referral link down below that'll help out the channel as well as you if you use it to sign up. But of course, whatever trading platform you like to use is absolutely fine. So with that, let's just hop in and do some analysis of the Rocket Lab stock inside our Trader Workstation. So here we are within our Trader Workstation application. You can see we have various windows showing different data. This is all fully customizable, just different type of setups you can have available, as well as tabs along the bottom for different screens showing different things. Let's pull up some company research here and take a look at Rocket Lab. Information in here that a lot of people don't look at. Impact in terms of ESG principles. Not too crazy about how these are calculated, so I don't tend to look a ton at that. Obviously, we don't have dividends, and we have our all sorts of ratios, financials. We can see what direction the trends are going, as well as some analyst forecasts. And analyst ratings is actually a bit more important. So if we dive into analyst ratings here, we can see price targets and when that price target was set and what firm is providing these price targets. So right now we can see the most recent one, CFRA, initiated a price target of $10. That was just earlier this month. So and these are all for a 1-year price target, by the way. So they expect the Rocket Lab stock to double by 1 year from now, which is pretty good. But you can see all sorts of different ratings: buy, hold, overweight, equal weight. If you want to go through that, we also have some tip ranks information here. Oh, and obviously, of course, the average target, high target, low target. These are nice information to see. Tip Ranks is a website that ranks analysts in terms of their history, which is sometimes useful to see because personally I'm not going to care as much about an analyst like this one with, say, only 1.5 stars out of 5. No offense to Christine, but if we sort by stars, we can kind of see if the higher ranked people tend to have a certain price target. I might care more about that for sure. We can also see a graph of where they're projecting out, and just sentiment is nice to see sometimes as well. So another thing I like to look at is social sentiment, especially in this day and age with social media, Twitter, Wall Street bets crowds that often go crazy. If you get a ton of people tweeting about a stock, it can really move it. So it's kind of a good sign if you see a lot of people talking about a stock online, usually. Occasionally it could be bad news. But they do try to categorize these sources into bullish and bearish. So the buzz score here on the buzz score here on Rocket Lab is actually relatively high, looking at 1.45 out of 2. So this is a positive buzz metric in terms of tweets. We also have a tweet sentiment score here, which is pretty high, 1.78 out of 6.9. This has been going up lately, so a good trend here, kind of mirroring the stock a little bit. Tweet volume in the past has been lower, and we can see that it has been going up as well. Also like to see technical insights. So this software will analyze the chart and look for any technical indicators that may be showing. Of course, you can do this manually. If you look at charts, there's all sorts of different patterns that can sort of indicate different potential moves in the stock. And you might think this is crazy, like, okay, so if the chart looks like this, why does this mean in the future it's going to go up? That makes no sense. But it actually does work a lot of the time. I'm not saying it should work. I think half of the reason it works is because everyone expects it to work. So people see these patterns and then they start buying, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy because they buy because of the pattern, and then it goes up, so it works. It kind of comes back to investor psychology a little bit, or just where they feel comfortable buying. You have lines of resistance where people feel comfortable buying for whatever reason, and it does tend to work. So if we're looking at our Rocket Lab stock here, lots of different moving averages, but we do see a head and shoulders bottom, which is interesting. That is over here. We're zooming in now, and a head and shoulders is basically just what it sounds like. So you have two slightly lower dips in the stock and one higher. This is inverted, actually. So this is kind of the head, and we have shoulders, and this is actually a bullish sign for the stock. So we can see here, automatically generated for us is the projection of what this technical event may indicate the stock will do over the next little while. So it's a bullish event indicating the stock, they believe, is likely to go up to above $5 a share, target price $5.50 to $5.80, just based on this technical indicator. You can read into that if you want. I focus more on the fundamentals of a stock and a company than the technicals. Technical is more of a short-term trading philosophy or strategy, but it is nice to see, and I always do take a look at it when I'm looking at a stock to see if there's anything bullish or bearish looking in the near term. We can see more historical events and just kind of go over it yourself. And you can do this with basically any stock. You can see if it's bullish or bearish. Price crosses the moving day average. That's always bullish. All sorts of different types of events you can look into here. Now, in terms of ownership, we can see how much is institutional ownership. So these are the big institutions as opposed to retail investors or stuff like that. In this case, we're looking at a lot of institutional ownership here, actually. Ownership types are almost half as investment managers, and then we have funds and portfolios. Brokerage firms is less than 1%. So quite low on that end. We can also see how many shares some of these insiders have. So Peter Beck currently owns a little under 12% of the company. Adam Spice is the CFO. He's kind of the number 2 of the company, and he has significantly less, but he does have about 0.5%, which is still in value terms, over $8 million. So I like to see it when the CEOs have a large stake in the company. They're more likely, they have skin in the game, basically. They really would need the company to succeed. And you also like to see when you have insider buying or selling, that means the insiders really believe in the company and what they're doing and the future of the company. Sometimes it's fun just to look through the institutions that own your company here. It's kind of interesting. We have Lockheed Martin as a partial owner of Rocket Lab. They have a 1.25% stake, and you'd think of them as a competitor, but they also are a partial owner, so that's kind of interesting. And then we have some larger institutions here. Some you might be familiar with, some you might not. Vector Capital Management, BlackRock Financial Management, that's probably in one of their funds, perhaps a space-based mutual fund. It's also interesting to see here that ARK Invest has been selling some shares recently. Man, they sold at June 30th, so a bit of a rough time for them to sell, I would think. I'm a little surprised by that. They are one that I have tended to believe in a little bit in the past. I've invested in their fund before, although right now I prefer to choose my own companies. So yeah, that's one that's interesting to see, as well as a little surprising. So we can click here in trade log and see insider trading. well, not illegal insider trading. There are rules around when insiders can buy or sell. So now I did see the other day when I was looking through these insider trades that Adam Spice, the CFO, had bought more shares a while back. That's what I like to see. Unfortunately, we don't really see it here. I think it's not quite recent enough in this chart to see today. But you do kind of get the sense of what's going on. There seems to be more purchases recently than sales in terms of insiders, which is nice to see. Now, another thing you can do is when you look in your news section, it's not all just articles. You do get some interesting industry reports that you might find helpful. So we have one here for aerospace and defense, and it just kind of whatever industry the stock you're looking at is in, you get access to all these reports. Now, of course, this all depends on your trading platform, but it's great to have access to a lot of these professional reports. If I check out my analyst research and market commentary here, we can see all these different subscriptions we get access to as a part of being on this platform. Of course, Seeking Alpha, we all know that one, I would think. A lot of different great analysts and research we can see. So this one, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's just an industry report for aerospace and defense. Then we have another sector report here. And you can really learn a lot by reading through some of these different reports. Let's see, what do we have? We have a stock report for Rocket Lab. So we can see some of these are kind of automatically generated by algorithms and just pulling up numbers, but it is a nice way to kind of summarize what you're looking at. This value engine is rating it underperform, but you can kind of see what the engine is forecasting. And if we look at this, their target price for 3 years from now is $5.43, and I just think that's just stupid. So yeah, I'm not going to take too much into that, but we're already hitting $5 today, so congrats on that, guys. And this thinks we're only going to get another 43 cents in 3 years. Yeah, that one I don't trust too much. There are some that are actually written by analysts, and those ones I do find a lot more interesting. Try to see if I can find one for you here. Also, we can find news about conferences. Zach's Rocket Lab Snapshot just gives you some more data on the stock. Anyway, it's just a great way to kind of summarize all the recent news around the stock. If you're looking into any company, this isn't just Rocket Lab. It can be applicable to all sorts of companies. You can come here and just check out the latest news. Of course, you can always look at the financials, and I do recommend that. You can see the trend line. The trend chart is pretty important for sure. Year-over-year change. So we're seeing revenue rising, although we did have a dip. And just look at the numbers on income, balance sheet, cash flow. Key ratios can be an important one to look at. Price to earnings, of course, being a unprofitable company at this point, it's all going to be negative. So another item I like to look at here is the probability lag. Now for this, you don't actually have to be trading options to look at this. It's designed to help options traders, but you can take a look even just as a regular investor buying the stock. Look basically as far out as you want, and you can see how options traders are thinking the probabilities will land of where the stock will be at certain points in time, just to see how your thinking might differ on this compared to the options traders out there. So if we look out 2 years, we can see in January of 2024, right now, actually, the highest probability is that Rocket Lab will be between $2 and $4 a share, which is below where it is right now. To me, I would assign this probability extremely low, like that. Next highest 4 to 8. I'd probably lower this as well. And let's see, 2 years out, I'll give 8 to 10 a bit better probability. 10 to 12, 12 to 14. So yeah, I think I would assign the probabilities more like this, maybe even. So these are how I would assign the probabilities, and it's great to take a look and see what the market's thinking about the stock. It gives you more confidence if you think you're buying right now. if you can see the probabilities of what the market thinks are significantly different from what you believe it will trade at, that should be a sign to you that you should probably be buying over the long term. If you're a short-term trader, you can use this to build strategies. So if this is what I believe and this is what the market believes, I can click here, build strategy, and I'll see what their algorithms think I should do, given that I believe the probabilities are way different than what the market is giving it. So basically it thinks I should buy a call and sell so it basically thinks I should do a spread trade. Not going to do this right now. I'm just accumulating stock, but it's another great tool to look at and see how the market is thinking about your company. So we're now looking at a longer term chart of Rocket Lab, and another thing I like to check is the RSI, relative strength indicator. So basically just kind of shows if the stock is looking oversold or overbought on a short-term basis, meaning it may drop soon or may rise soon. I tend to like to buy it with the RSI below a 40. And you can see we did that around a month or so ago, back when the stock was in the 4s and even in the 3s. We were looking quite oversold, so I did add shares. We're looking a little overbought now, at least on the short term, so I want to accumulate more, but seeing as how we're in that 80, I might hold off and hope for a little bit of a dip, but I'm not positive on that yet. I still have to do some more research and decide. There's a little bit of an extra factor at play here because I need to sell a stock in order to buy this stock, and now that stock is also going up. So seeing as how they move similarly, does it really matter that much if I'm buying Rocket Lab higher, because that means I'm selling the other stock higher as well? Maybe not. Maybe it's worth putting the order in now. If you do want to, there's also all sorts of other studies you can add to your charts and get more information showing here. So if we click edit and go to studies, you can see all sorts of available studies. The only one I have applied right now is RSI. You can add moving averages, all sorts of advanced things, volatility, volume, some sort of proprietary stuff as well. I don't usually get into too much of that, but it's there if you want to take a look at it. We can add, for example, a moving average here, and then hit apply, and you can see it just kind of smooths out the jerkiness of the stock at times. It's generally a bullish sign when the chart moves above a moving average, so this is a good sign that we've passed above this moving average after being below it for 4 or 5 months or so here, probably even longer really. Now it's also useful to go through the analyst forecasts and see what they're projecting in terms of numbers for revenue, earnings, profits, all that kind of thing. You can add that into your own models if you agree with them or not. So we can see analysts are generally thinking that our 2022 earnings per share will be about -6 cents, so we'll be a little bit unprofitable. And then we can also see where our net income falls, gross margins. Good to look at what they think, and you can factor that into your own models and estimates. So there you have it. Super simple video today. Just wanted to show you a few things in interactive brokers. Trader Workstation, I used Rocket Lab as an example. Hopefully you learned some things about Rocket Lab, but if not, maybe you can take some of these techniques away for other stocks that you research yourself in the future. As always, thanks for viewing and hanging out with me here. I'll see you next time. Bye.